Guys, welcome back to the internet's absolute favorite cooking show, as far as I know. I'm in America, and in America, all times of year are time for pie, but especially the end of year holiday season. So we've got one of those for you. We are doing pumpkin pie brand versus basic. If you haven't seen any of these before, here's what we do. We make the exact same recipe twice using the same ingredients, except one set of ingredient is higher quality than the other. The goal is to see how much difference that makes in the final product. Sometimes we've done the very most expensive versions of the products we can versus the absolute cheapest. This time we're leaning heavily into the name brand versus basic, and we've got all of what I think are the most recognizable brand names for each product, as well as the generic store brand whatever was available names. So we're gonna make the same recipe. We're gonna make pumpkin pie twice the same way, and we're gonna see how it turns out. After we cook everything, we'll have a blind taste test with some of my friends to see if they can tell the difference between what is the more expensive and the less expensive recipe. All right, now making a pumpkin pie. If you want to get really fancy, you can make the crust from scratch. And at some point in my life, I probably have made a pumpkin pie crust from scratch, but that's not what I'm gonna do today. I got pre-made crusts, and I got two different brands. I got Pillsbury, which is probably the best known brand in pre-made pastry anything in America. And I got Walmart Great Value brand. As far as I can tell, the products are basically supposed to be identical. We're gonna use them. We're gonna see when we eat these, we're gonna see if we can tell a difference between the two. All right, this is looking like it'll fit. It's not gonna like overlap much, but I think we should get right up to the edge of our glass pans here. When they're metal, you call them a pie tin. I don't know if you're supposed to call it something different when it's a pie glass. Jar? Jars are glass, right? That's it. We're gonna call this a pie jar, even though I am 100% sure that's wrong. Okay, there is brand name pie crust set over here, and now let's check out our basic. Okay, so just noticing here, different texture on the pie crust. It feels a little bit thicker. You can see I've got this cracking happening, and there's visible flour on the crust. I have no idea if any of those things are good or bad. They're just observing how it's slightly different. Just a side-by-side look at the two of them. There's definitely more color to the Pillsbury. It does come a little bit higher on the edge. I don't know if that's good or bad, and it might be the exact same quantity of dough. I did think that this one felt a little thicker, so maybe it's rolled not quite as thin, and it's just, as a result, it's not quite as big. But we've got them in there, so now it's time to start making our filling. Okay, 421 grams. Good to know. So this right here is our brand name pumpkin puree. And this is actually one of the reasons that we're doing brand and not just whatever's the most expensive. This may be the most expensive, and it was where I shopped at Walmart. Maybe there are fancier brands at other stores, but my mom, who has made a great many pies, like hundreds if not thousands of pies in her life, she has been told that this specific brand, this Libby's brand, is very important in making the best kind of pumpkin pie. So I really wanted to try that specifically. So we've got this brand, and that's gonna be one of the key things. Obviously, this is kind of the main ingredient. So the basic brand of puree, it has a pumpkin puree smell, but this one, just as I was opening the can, it already smells kind of like pumpkin pie. In fact, quite a bit like pumpkin pie. So that much difference is, that seems telling to me. There it is, 421. I love this kind of recipe. It has a list of ingredients, and then it basically just says, combine ingredients. Like you just take all of them, mix it together. That's your process. Perfect. All right, so we got a can of sweetened condensed milk. Now, sweetened condensed milk is very sweet, so 2 eggs. Eggs is something in the past that we've seen a very visual difference between quality. Generally, really cheap eggs are very yellow, like a very pale yellow, whereas more expensive eggs tend to have quite a bit more color, even bordering on orange if you get really expensive, like these are the free-range chickens that we feed nothing but the finest of made and harvested grain or whatever. That's still holding true. This is not the biggest difference. These are the cheapest eggs, and the color of the eggs is noticeably different. All right, added the eggs. Now we need 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon. We need half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Ooh, smell of the ginger. Even though this is the cheaper ginger, but the smell of it definitely got me as I opened it up to serve it out. Oh, I love that smell. Half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. That one has a pretty good smell as well. Cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. Those are the pumpkin spices. So if you get things that are pumpkin spice flavored, that's them. A little bit of salt. Got my off-brand salt here. I don't really believe that makes much difference. Just granulated salt. Okay, I gotta say that hand mixes up great. I don't feel like I needed the egg beater. Let's finish up the expensive mix. The brand name mix. It's not about price this time. It's about the name, you know? Time for spices. So this is something I'm actually very interested in. I am going to do just a side-by-side test of the 3 different spices going in here to see what quality difference I can detect. Decent flavor, tastes like cinnamon. Honestly, the biggest difference I'm noticing is that the brand name, the McCormick, seems to have just barely a larger grain structure to it. Like I can feel it more in my mouth. Ginger. Oh yeah, that's the smell. Like I said, pretty strong. Okay, I am not like a spice expert. I'm not gonna be great at analyzing, but to me, this one did taste like it had sort of a more complex flavor. Like this one was just kind of a one note, like spicy ginger. This one was like ginger. I'm sure I explained that perfectly. So the pumpkin puree and the eggs were a little bit darker with the brand name stuff. And I think now that we've got it all mixed together, you can definitely see a difference in the color between the brand and the basic filling. Here's the brand, here's the basic. Now it's time to cook. These are going to go into the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. Then the oven gets reduced in temperature down to 350, and they cook for another additional 35 or 40. All right, just took the pies out of the oven. They are still too hot to touch the glass jar. I'm sticking with that. We're gonna let those cool down. We'll pop them in the fridge, and in a little bit, we'll have a taste test to see if my friends can tell the difference. All right, guys, pumpkin pie. I've got my testing crew here. You guys know how this works. One of these pies is made with brand name ingredients, and one of them is made with basic ingredients. And I actually should say, I didn't just go most expensive, least expensive. This was the recognizable brands, the ones that you're gonna be like, hey, I've seen that brand in the store all the time. I went with that, and then I went with the store brand from a couple different stores. So, pumpkin pie. We've got whipped cream in mysterious paper towel coverings, so you can't tell which is which, because the labeling couldn't be removed from both of them. And we can cut pieces of pie, we can try pieces of pie, and then you can form your opinions. Perfect.
Nice.
Let's grab another knife.
The spice in this is significantly more flavorful, leading me to think that it's more expensive because more expensive spices usually are more vibrant.
That's probably why
That's
I thought
my
this
piece.
one was more pumpkin-y, because that one had more spices in it, which I preferred that one.
This one seems more traditional.
agree.
I've tasted more that are like this rather than like this, which makes me think that this is the more expensive one because the ingredients are fairly cheap anyway. So
Let's just
people
try
don't
the
usually go
crust.
the cheapest when it comes to
Or
pumpkin
fried
pie.
crust.
I think that this
Okay.
whipped cream tastes better, so that's one of the things
Oh,
that
the
actually
crust is super different. If you just eat the crust.
Okay.
Oh,
I like them both.
I like how this one has like a good like pumpkin-y flavor, but I still prefer that one better.
Yeah,
with
even
the
looking at it, you can
spices.
see like the texture just looks better.
This one tastes like there's
Yeah.
there's a flavor in there that I'm not used to in a pumpkin pie. Like it's
Is it pumpkin?
no, it's like aspartame or something.
All right, everyone want to vote? What do they think is the brand? What do they think is the basic?
Brand whipped cream, even though I know
Brand.
that's not true, but brand.
This is brand.
This is brand.
Any dissenting opinions? Does anyone believe this is the brand?
I originally thought that was brand just from the look, but this tastes way better.
I like that one more, and that one tastes familiar.
But that's
But that's-
screwed you before.
But the thing is, before I've gone, that tastes familiar. That means it must be cheap and garbage. And the expensive one was one that didn't taste familiar.
This
So
one literally has a green pale tint.
Yeah, that's the
like
look
this one
for
is,
me.
looks like
I'll be the oddball out and say this one, even though I like that one more. I'll say this one I think was brand.
All
Just
right.
because.
Well, big reveal. This is the brand pie. Yes,
Yay!
your taste buds were accurate. I think for me, a big part of it is what you hit on. The spices come through much stronger in that, and like you can see them. Like you can physically see little bits of what I think are nutmeg, because that's always the largest grain spice. I don't think this is a bad pie. Individually, though, I would say the crust on this is noticeably worse. So I would definitely, and again, the price difference, I'd have to look it up, but it's something like $1.90 for 2 of the cheap crusts, and then like $2.90 for 2 of the more expensive crusts. It's not a big difference.
Worth it.
So I would definitely go for the more expensive crust. All right, pumpkin pie, honestly one of the most value for the least additional money that I think we've tested so far. Overall, pretty much everyone liked the more expensive version of the pie, the one made with all of the brand ingredients, better than the one made with the store brand ingredients. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth spending the extra, and it's not even that much extra. I ran up a total of all the money I spent on the ingredients and then divvied that up by how much of the ingredient I used. And what that left me with is a basic pie made with the store brand ingredients, coming in with a grand total cost of $5.43 worth of ingredients used. $5.43. If you want to go to the brand name stuff, get the good things, the ones that you know and recognize, you're going to be out $8.38. So you're looking at like $3 more, and it's not even expensive to start with. Spend the $8.50 for your pie, because it's gonna be noticeably better than your $5 pie. It makes a good pie. You can really taste the pumpkin, you can really taste the spices, and the crust is so much better if you get the brand name stuff versus the basic. I don't think we've ever had a result this conclusively in favor of getting the brand stuff before, but this is definitely near the top, and I gotta say, it's worth it. Guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you've got more recipes, more things you want to see us try this brand versus basic, please let me know down in the comments. I do read through them to get your ideas and to know what you'd like to see. As always, of course, a big thank you shout out to all of our supporters on Patreon. Your support means the world to us. If you're not currently a Patreon supporter and you would like to be, the link to that is down in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.